There's a couple of things in life that are certain, right? The ever expanding universe, it's always continuing to grow. And so is Big Bang Zhang, the guy that slept Joe Joyce with a 2-3, landing the check three, or just a simply the right hook, right on his chin. Literally put little Joe Joyce, tucked him into bed. Look, man, keep this live pretty short. Obviously, there's not a whole lot that we haven't covered in terms of recent events, right? Shame on Chon Cepeda. Oh my God. If there was ever a way to show your age, that was that fight. Um, there was no creativity. There was no proper combination punching. There was no correct punch placement, let alone feints. One of the things is when you fight an outboxer that's longer, younger, has fresher legs, you can't just throw one punch at a time and think, unless you have Deontay Wilder's strength, you're not gonna win a fucking fight that way. And I don't know what Manny Robles and Chon Cepeda worked for fucking 3-4 months, but that game plan wasn't it. That fight was so boring. Hitchens, obviously you can call that stepping up to the plate, but he should have pressed a little more, especially when the guy's not in your class. You got to get Cepeda out of there. You got to also throw your combinations. Don't just throw 1-2 and pepper him with the jab. That's good. Now show us a little more. Show us why you are deserving of a Teofimo Lopez fight. But aside from that, man, Zhang, I've only seen him fight 3 times, to be honest with you. I thought he beat Filip Hrgovic. It was a pretty good fight, very close. One of the things that I noticed in that fight, I saw Zhang, I want to say he punched himself out, but he definitely got tired, kind of showed his age a little bit. And I'm not going to put him on a pedestal because I just never thought Joe Joyce was an amazing fighter. I don't think highly of him. I never thought. Just because he beat Daniel Dubois, I didn't think highly about that UK heavyweight as well. I mean, besides Joshua and Fury, I never thought much about Dylan White. I thought Jermaine Franklin beat him. I thought Joe Joyce was very limited. And this was before Zhang, right? He was very robotic, very stiff. Now, one of the things that I liked about the Juggernaut is that he's willing to take a big load of shots. I seen him when he fought Usyk. I don't know, it was like this World Boxing Super Series tournament. I think it was like 4 or 8 rounds, maybe even 10. And Usyk and Joe Joyce gave Usyk a good run for his money. Usyk did win because he was peppering him with shots. But Joe Joyce, again, he's tough and he showed grit. It's just he met a guy that can punch extremely hard, right? And that was Zhang. I like Zhang. For his age, he's very poised. He's very calm under duress. He's got great punch placement, and he can hit with both hands, right? He's got a good left hand. That's what you want to see from a southpaw. And he's got a good right hook, and he's got a good jab. Like, he understands boxing, right? Like Lomachenko likes to always say, he understands boxing. Same thing with Big Bang Zhang, Zileng Zhang. He understands boxing. As for Joe Joyce, I don't think it's time for him to retire, but he's got to understand that you're never going to beat the champions unless you really learn how to protect your face. Because, see, we know you have a good chin. We know you can take a lot of punishment. But at the same time is you have to protect that chin. If you have something of value, toughness and grit and punch tolerance, punch resistance, you don't always have to showcase that ability that you can take a punch and prove to the audience. No, you have to protect it. A chin is not one of those things where you just put your face out there and just let a guy get a free shot on you. No, a chin means if I can't block all the punches, if I can't slip, if I can't counter and roll, right? I'm willing to take a shot so I can land mine. That last important part, so I can land mine, that's the purpose of having a chin. Take one to give one, right? And Joe Joyce just wasn't willing to punch with Zhang. Same thing with Zepeda. Zepeda's tough. You're taking and you're getting hit flush by Richard Hitchens' power. Okay? He obviously doesn't hit too hard enough where it's concussive enough where you have to really backpedal. No, it's accumulation of punches that's going to put you fucking down. Zepeda never really wanted to punch with Hitchens. He wanted to kind of like seesaw. You go, I go, you go, I go. And you're not going to win that type of way. When he throws a jab, you immediately always pop your two. Instantly. Same thing with Joyce. Joyce had his right hand looking to parry the two, looking to parry the straight of Zhang, but you also got to throw yours away, right? You got to close your fist and throw with him. Slip, boom, and throw the chopping 2 or 4 over the top as he throws his jab or as he throws his own two. I don't know, man. It just certain things. I don't really understand how these trainers can go 4 months and really not study other fighters that have had success with similar styles, because as fans, you get robbed of something pretty spectacular. Now, what Zhang did was amazing. I'm not trying to shit on his performance, but I didn't really need to see a rematch, right? I mean, I think the whole rest of the world did not need to see a rematch because it was very conclusive in the first outing. With that said, there's a new kid on the block, and his name is Zileng Zhang. I don't know if he can beat the champions, but I want to find out. He's big. He's mean enough, right? If you can't get Fury, because Fury is more... Man, I spelled Usyk's name wrong. Oh, wait, did I spell it right? I think it's with an S rather than a Z. If he can't get Wilder, hopefully maybe he can get like Andy Ruiz. Maybe a rematch with Philip Hrgovic. Let me see. Maybe Jermaine Ortiz. I think not Jermaine Ortiz. Sorry, Jermaine Franklin. I like Franklin's skills. He punches very good. He's got very good. He understands boxing because he's a smaller heavyweight, so he has to rely on skill and speed rather than just power and size. But yeah, if Big Bang Zhang can't get those 4 fighters, Wilder, Usyk, Fury, or Joshua, I want to see him fight the other tier, and Andy Ruiz, a Jermaine Franklin. It'd be really nice. It would be really good to see. Even the guy Jalolov, let Big Bang Zhang do the dirty work and eliminate the other top contenders. Even though he's like 38 or 40 years old himself, he's got a lot of potential to beat a lot of these up and coming fighters, right? Like a Jared Anderson. That's the type of skill that if he can't get these 4 fighters, that's who he should be fighting and booster up a really good resume for himself. Hopefully it would be a Joshua fight, but I'm not going to hold my head held high on that fight because Joshua failed to fight another 40-year-old southpaw, and that was King Kong Ortiz. So I don't really have extreme hopes of Eddie Hearn and Joshua to give us Big Bang Zhang, get beat by an obscure fighter that many people don't know over a Deontay Wilder. It just doesn't make sense, right? At least the pieces don't add up for this crossword puzzle. Like it just, I don't see it. You know, it's a good idea to ponder, but honestly, Zhang, the only fighter that I can see Zhang or, you know, take up a Zhang fight is Alexander Usyk. He's got integrity, he's honest, and he's always willing to fight the best fighters, right? I don't really think too much highly of Joshua in terms of that aspect. They go about cherry picking a career, and you know what? It's fine. It's a career, right? Especially when you have time is on your side. Time is of the essence. Like Joshua can go ahead and play matchmaker. Other fighters like Zhang, you just got to take on the toughest fights. But with that being said, man, I would like to see Zhang take on all those champions. And if he can't get it, maybe he can get a Deontay Wilder. I think Wilder would fight him. But I'm going to go to a little side point if I can. And I was talking to my brother, and there was and we were just kind of doing a little research dive, right? And there used to be a time. Shit, give me a second. I have to charge my computer. That shit's about to die. There used to be a time when being a world champion didn't just mean being a world champion in America, right? Like when I look at a lot of these fighters and I look at these historical runs in the heavyweight division, Thrilla in Manila, just to name a few, right? George Foreman versus Muhammad Ali, all these fights that happened, Buster Douglas versus Mike Tyson in Tokyo. These fighters, these heavyweights, they used to fight and travel all over the world. The presidents or the country's relatively rich one percenters would buy these fights and be like, you know what? Bring Deontay Wilder over here to, let's say, Colombia. Bring him over to Panama. When a world champion, that means you represented the world. That means the champion had a duty to the world to go bring eyes, new fan base. I don't know if it was during the Floyd Mayweather era or even before then, when it was just everything was America, everything was Las Vegas. Like, I don't know about you guys, but if you were a champion and your promoter can get you contracts to go fight in China, I would go take a fight somewhere in one of their best cities, in their best states, right? I don't know where it just became Las Vegas, New York. Pacquiao he fought in China. He fought Brandon Rios. He also fought Jeff Horn when he was a champion, and he fought in Australia, right? I don't know, man. What's going on with you, Speed? Mic check, brother. Can you hear?
Yeah. I could hear you, bro. How you doing, homie Ricky?
Man, I'm doing pretty good. Excuse me.
Well, you
I
smoking
know.
some of that goody doobie?
Yeah, man. Nah. It's just I think I'm drinking the cinnamon coffee. I'm not
Uh-huh.
allergic to cinnamon, but sometimes it'll tickle my throat, type of thing. But yeah, and I had a really great weekend. I was able to stop by at the aquarium, eat some, clam chowder from Fisherman's Grotto, the best in the nation.
Hmm.
And it was just a very fun Friday. It was spectacular Saturday as well, and even a very grinding Sunday. I did a bunch of errands, watched a lot of covers, clothes, packed a lot of stuff. I'm gonna be going out of the state, so it was really nice just to get a lot of stuff done. We tried putting on an engine, but sometimes you go through the process of trial and error, and sometimes there's error. But what about yourself, man? How you been? It's been a while.
Yeah, no, I've been all right. Busy. Um, my son and I, we finally finished all of the necessary body work on his '68 Chevelle truck. We were able to, straighten everything out, check the lines. We were we did a few little, we've been doing finishing touches for a while now. Um, and we were able to finally make the necessary time to dedicate ourselves to it, because mostly it's he goes to school, I go to work, and then I come and work on cars. Uh, and when I'm working on cars, well, I'm doing a few. I'm doing a 1970 Impala. I'm working on my son's vehicle. I'm also doing a little bit of work on I'm starting to prep some work for a '67 Super Sport Impala. So little by
Nice.
little, I've been busy, but I can't. The deal with my son was, I'll give you this truck. It's an El Camino. I'll give you this El Camino, but you have to do all the work. I'm just going to tell you what you need to do, how to go about doing it. I'll send you a couple of video links, let you borrow some books. Um, but so he's been doing what he can, and I just basically go over there and just make sure, okay, give him the good go ahead. It looks good. Fix this, do that, and so forth and so on. But he's been very busy, and I've been very busy. And finally, we sat down and doing it. So the car is ready to go. It's primered. We'll probably paint it. We're just, he's just deciding on what color to go. If it's gonna be an orange, something colorful. If it's gonna be something more serious, like a GM blue. We'll see where we go. But otherwise, man, we've been busy. I've been trying to get a mountain bike ride up the hills for a few weeks now. Uh, And man, it's time goes by quick when you're busy, and I haven't gotten down to it. So I can't complain because I did some stuff, but I could only complain a little bit because I could have had more fun.
Yeah.
As
No, you
far as
taught me about
boxing, man,
a Twix.
yeah, as far
Absolutely.
as boxing was pretty fun, pretty fun.
Yeah, I thought the woman fight was very good. Sandy Ryan versus Jessica McCaskill.
Yeah, hell of a fight.
I don't care too much about the decision, but it was a very good fight.
Hmm.
It just lets you kind of know that like Eddie Hearn is pretty fair and impartial because after what Jessica McCaskill said to that man, if I'm Eddie, I'm putting the fucking royal fuckery to her. But somehow, she still gets a fair shake, and you're like, hey, it's a fucking draw. I don't know what happened there. We'll get to it. Let me just read a couple of the comments here. Adam Hurley says, if the referee doesn't allow Fury to put Zhang in a headlock all night, Zhang beats Fury. We'll get to that. Yo, what's going on, Vince? It's been a long time, brother. It's been, let's see, how old is Zhang? Yeah, Zhang's 40. Thanks, Adam. But a lot of fighters are fighting till they're 43 these days. It was cool as hell when Zhang gave Joe Joyce that knockout blow and he turned right away and raised his hands. Yeah, he knew it was like Jersey Joe Wilcott when he fucking lands his punch and just walks away. Gotta go, guys, but I'll try to come back later. Yeah, man. It was actually a
All
pretty
right,
good weekend of fights. I know on Wednesday, Showbox. Wait, is it Showbox or Pro Box? Pro Box.
pro box.
Yeah, they had some pretty good fights there.
Hmm.
Also, maybe you remember his name, but the guy that gave Conor Ben a fight after like a year or over a year layoff, man, shout
Hmm.
out to him for being tough, gritty, and giving Conor Ben an amazing fight.
Hmm.
Yeah, because when I did like a film study just to see what this guy who was about, because that guy had a pretty good resume. I mean, good record, but he hadn't really fought nobody. And when I watched his latest fight that was on YouTube, probably only had like 900 or 1,000 views. I thought Conor Ben was gonna knock him out like in the first 3 rounds, and somehow this dude was able to give Conor Ben a really good fight, take his best punches, land a little few. I mean, you can see that he was out of his element, but that toughness and grit, like if he gets polished up and gets picked up by a good trainer, like let's say a Robert Garcia, like you can make something out of that fighter. And I don't know about you, but did you know Conor Ben spoke Spanish? Because I guess if you go to IFL TV, Conor Ben is like laying on his back, and I don't know if they're putting ice or maybe there's like some therapeutic, stretches or treatment that's going on. But the Mexican fighter goes to shake his hand, and they start chopping it up in Espanol, and they're like, "Hey, man, like where you from? X, Y, and Z." And yeah, did you know a little bit of stuff about Conor Ben if you knew how to speak Spanish?
I had forgotten, but I had forgotten that he did, because it's been a very long while since he fought, and furthermore, it's the last fight that he had before this big controversy didn't really require him to to introduce himself or engage with the Spanish speaking individuals. But I remember a few years back, he was being interviewed, or he after a post fight, he said some things in Spanish, and I remember thinking, wow, that's a very good Spanish without an accent, for uh, what is it, a British black man. um and well, when he spoke Spanish again, I was like, oh, that's right, he does speak Spanish. And of course, that is what we.
Why does he speak Spanish? You would think like he would learn like French. Like do you know why? Like how he picked up the Spanish
Well,
dialect?
he mentioned it. I think he mentioned it because they've been building up this fight for a good couple of weeks now, because it really was pretty short notice. So we have to give props to the Mexican fighter from Sinaloa, who came in, gave a good account of himself. He demonstrated chin and grit, so we got to thank him for that. But he said that he had lived in Spain. He lived. not just visited. He lived in Spain for
That
12
makes sense.
years. But you know what, homie Ricky? A lot of those people from the European Union, they had this. I'm not too sure if it's still around, but the European Union is basically a union of nation states in close proximity to each other that had some kind of a deal that they could freely commute and migrate between their countries. So
Huh.
these British go to Ireland, Spaniards go to France, and so forth and so on. So it's not atypical for some of these Europeans to speak three, four, five different languages because all those little nation states have a language of their own. You have Germany, you have Spain, you have English, you have Portugal, uh, you have, I don't even know what else there's, Irish, Celtic. There's so many different, and Russians are very close to Germany, so all of those people can learn a lot of languages. So that's not surprising, but
Bro, Connor Ben bought a book. He called siete 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 siete. He called that
what
number.
the siete, siete, siete.
That's the number he called, and he's learning Spanish, bro. I'm
Oh
kidding.
yeah,
I'm just, nah, I'm
siete,
just kidding.
siete, siete.
I didn't know. I didn't know he was he knew Spanish. So he actually sounded pretty good speaking it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very
he
Good.
good,
spoke fantastic.
perfect.
It was really good. Just I want to make a little correction. The guy that fought Connor Ben, shout out to him for showing amazing grit and giving
Mhm.
Connor really good rounds. His
Mhm.
name is Rodolfo Orozco. And shout out to him for showing that Guerrero spirit. So basically, you said something interesting. So I guess it's kind of like a treaty where they have open borders, so they don't have the whole situation with like how California, how the United States has with Mexico, where they're like, oh no, we got to build the wall over there in the European circuit. They don't really have that, or what?
No, if I'm not mistaken, I think they can. I think there's even like some kind of train or subway system that goes through all of those countries. So you can really, cover. You can be in two, three different countries in one day if you
Oh
have
wow.
time to. Yeah, it's from what I understand. I've never been to Europe, but I read a little bit when I was much younger. Maybe because the European Union's been around for like a good 20 or so years,
Yeah, yeah.
maybe maybe longer. But yeah, there it's a whole different vibe over there, I guess.
Nice. That's pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah.
What's going on, Drew? How you been, bro? How's your
Ooh,
weekend? And hey, fuck your fantasy team, bro.
you're wrong.
How you been, bro?
I'm just kidding, man. Man, I'm dominating your fantasy team, man. You had a good week too. You had a good week, but I had a fantastic week. Like
Yeah, I
everyone
only
went
had two
off.
players that were good. My quarterback and my defense.
I
Everybody
said,
else
bro,
struggled.
I was like, oh no, I need a running back. Let me get a guy from the waiver wire. Boom, he gives me 22 this week.
Hmm.
I know. I'm just like,
Against the
man.
Ravens defense, dog.
Oh
They
yeah,
fucking
yeah,
pulled the upset.
yeah, yeah. I know. I'm just like, dude, what the fuck, man? This week was weird, and Jags lost as well. So I'm like, man, whatever. But anyways, back to boxing. I was watching them fights, bro. I was watching
What'd you think?
Big Bang, man. I'm a big fan of Big Bang now because he's respectful, man. I mean, he's not like cocky. He may come off as cocky, but I think it's the language. It's the culture. It's a culture difference, and that's just how they talk, bro. Like I don't know, like uh, they said that he was being too cocky, I guess. Like he was being, his game plan was a little too wide open, like he was just letting everyone know exactly what he was gonna do. But that's the thing, he did exactly what he said he was gonna do. And yeah, man, he just straight dominated Joe Joyce, man. From the beginning, he did not deserve to be. I mean, it's good that he gave him, a second opportunity, because that's what it's really all about. That's what makes Zhang, that's what made me a bigger fan of Zhang because he came back out and he did it twice for us,
Hmm.
and he pretty much proved him, and he gave Joe Joyce to another opportunity, and that's the thing. that you got to respect. But yeah, man, he just proved himself, man. He just proved himself. He's gonna be a guy to be reckoned with, bro. Like honestly, if you, I'm not sure how it works right now as far as like who's across the street and all that. But before you guys say that, I would want this guy to fight fucking Wilder. You know, I would think this
That's
guy.
an interesting fight.
I think this guy would put Wilder out, bro.
I don't
Like
know. I don't know.
I think he can put him out, bro. I think,
Wow.
and then just because of how flat-footed Wilder is, I just feel like he could put Wilder out, bro. But that just shows you how great fucking Hergovich is. You know, that just shows you how good that guy is. So, yeah, I guess I want to see that again. I want to see that happen, but that's a high risk, low reward for for Zhang. You know, so yeah, they say you know if they were to fight if you were to fight Fury in China, that would do big numbers because that would be like that would do record breaking numbers because due to the fact that China is behind his you know got his back and all that you know and the population of China you know
Yeah, yeah.
so they say that if they fight that will
Not in
do
Shanghai or something.
yeah that'll do big numbers so
Look,
like
this
that's
is
what
where I
makes
use
it
that
more
iconic
marketable.
phrase, right? Word. You're wrong, Drew. I don't think highly of Philip Hergovic, bro. I thought Zhang beat him in that fight. Zhang, I felt like he tired out a little bit. And honestly, I'm gonna be, bro. Hergovic is a dirty ass fighter. If there was ever a guy where no, I'm not even gonna say that joke. All I'm gonna say is in his last fight and even fights before that, I don't know if it's like a European thing, but I feel like these trainers, there's a very thin line, an obscure line where they're teaching their fighters. And Andy Ruiz did this too against King Kong Ortiz, where they're starting to hit behind the ear. It's almost like behind the head. I don't know where if there's ever a line where like, oh, you got to hit in front of the ear or behind it. I'm not too sure, but I feel like they're teaching certain fighters to hit behind that ear and that head.
Mm-hmm.
It fucking throws off your equilibrium. I know Josh Taylor did it. Again, Andy Ruiz, when he dropped King Kong Ortiz, it was always those type of punches. Philip Hergovic in his last fight, bro, that dude should have been disqualified. Because again, sure, everyone's talking about the PD scandal and all these fighters popping dirty, right? But there's also a lot of fighters, kind of like the situation with Pritchard Cologne, that I feel like fighters are dropping. I'm not gonna say that line, but I feel like they're dying more often, and it's because of that little punches behind that ear. Those are all rabbit punches, but now they're starting to turn hooks to it, and there's that fine line. In that last fight, Hergovic, bro, that guy literally had his back turned up against the ropes, and he was pounding the dude in the back of the head. There must have been like 3-4 shots, and the ref didn't even tell him anything. Like he wanted to, but it was like he had already warned him a previous time. So like, bro, fucking disqualify him. Take away the point. So going back to Zhang, I didn't really need to see the rematch. I didn't need to see Joe Joyce get slept because the first fight was definitive. The first fight wasn't even close.
Yeah.
So I know you said like Zhang could beat Wilder and all these guys. I never really rated Joe Joyce highly up there. I'm not here to shit on Zhang. I thought his two performances, even going back, they've been all amazing for a 38, 40-year-old. It's been spectacular, but I actually look at the opposite. I don't think he seems a little slow on his feet, and his punches don't really seem that fast either. Like he understands boxing. He's got great punch placement. He's got power and pop in both hands. He's a big fucking man. You know, but I would like to continue to see him fight up against these contenders, you know, like Jerry Anderson, like Jalalov, like
Adam Hurley said Jerry Forrest. Wait, no,
Forrest,
he's
like
down in his jaw,
right?
He got it. Oh no, yeah, he fought him. He said
Zhang
almost dominated in his draw against Jerry Forrest again. He gassed out at the end. Zhang should be 28-0. He said.
Yeah, but you know, like again, Zhang is very good, but I just don't think that I never really put Joe Joyce in a top 10. You know, I don't really think he beat anybody that's like, oh my god, he's so reputable. We're like, dude, this dude, I don't even know if he can, or maybe he fought Carlos Takam. You know what I mean? But it's kind of like that French heavyweight guy that he got beat by Marin Bakoli. I think that's his name. Tony Yoka. I never thought highly of Tony Yoka.
Me neither.
So I'm just kind of like, same thing with Joe Joyce. I had seen him. I was really never impressed by him, but I did like his chin. That boy can take a punch. A
Zhang?
little too much punches for my liking. No, Joe Joyce. But
Oh,
that's
yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit about it. It was kind of like Chavez Jr., right? He had an amazing chin. He inherited his father's chin, the punch tolerance. But I'm like, bro, focus on your defense.
And
You don't
not in the heavyweights. That doesn't work in the heavyweights.
It's different in
absolutely
the
not.
heavyweights.
These
I
are
agree.
men. These are fucking what's that oversized shark, like the megalodon or whatever the fuck it's called? These guys are
Megalodon.
huger than life, and these guys' power is fucking Thor hammer, fucking with the ability to lift that shit.
Mhm.
I don't know, man. It's kind of strange.
I
But
think-
what do you think about it, Speed? Do you
Yeah.
think highly of Joe Joyce? What about the whole situation with Zhang? Drew said that he can beat all these dudes. How you feel about that?
No, the thing with Joe Joyce, right, is that eventually the fighting style of that man, take one to give one, it doesn't really work in the heavyweights, right? I mean, it was never gonna last, right? It was maybe something that he could roll on with the smaller fighter or the type of fighters without the type of concussive punching power, like let's say obviously Zhang, because obviously Zhang knows how to put people to sleep. But I don't know if it'll work with somebody like Deontay Wilder at this juncture in his career. Yeah, maybe, right? Because Zhile Zhang has been much more active, and both of them are pretty high up there in their age. But what we do know is that that Joe Joyce was really never gonna continue this run of conquest with fighting the likes of men like Triple D, Daniel Dubois, who the thing with Daniel Dubois is I think they may have set him up for a good accomplishment too early in his career. I don't know how many fights he had in, but maybe 10, maybe 12, before all of a sudden he ended up facing Joe Joyce. And now Joe Joyce doesn't really have that many notable names under him, especially when he fought him. But I mean, they're tough fights, and you only know that they're tough fights once the fight is over. Because initially it was a very competitive offering, right? It looked like it was competitive. Daniel Dubois had good power. He was showing some good conviction, but you never know when you face him too much and too hard, and that just seemed to be it. Joe Joyce seemed like the kind of fighter that has too many defensive flaws to really make it far in the heavyweight division. You really do have to figure out how to be more defensive and more fleet of foot to be competitive with the type of fighters that we have now. We have Alexander Usyk, we have Tyson Fury, and even Anthony Joshua for that matter. He's pretty defensive. He's pretty boxistic. And they're smart. They got good ring savvy in comparison to Joe Joyce and Daniel Dubois. So I mean, once you start facing him, pitting him in there with the likes of those men and even Deontay Wilder, you're probably gonna face some tough nights there. So Joe Joyce was not going to be the guy to ever make it. Now, Zhile Zhang, look at that guy. He's the guy who's most impressive in boxing, in heavyweight boxing right now. I mean, first, yeah, Deontay Wilder hasn't really done nothing to impress us recently, except knock out his sparring partner in one round. Okay, whatever. Anthony Joshua hasn't really looked impressive. He's had a couple of tough outings versus smaller men. He's looked very, very tentative. He doesn't have the knockout power. So now everybody's questioning him. And Alexander Usyk, he's incredible. And look at Fury. He's stuck in the work. So I think, right now we really have Zhile Zhang providing all the entertainment value for us heavyweight boxing fans.
Yeah, so I guess Zhang has already fought AJ in the amateurs.
And AJ knocked him out, right?
Nah, AJ beat him. He just
he didn't knock him out?
Yeah, no, he beat him in the 2012 Olympics, London,
Semifinal, right?
in the quarterfinal.
Oh,
Nice.
quarterfinal.
Yeah, he fought him in the quarterfinal, I guess. And
So now that they have some type of history, you think Joshua would, let's say, fight Zhang in China?
that would be a good big money fight for him. I would take it if I was AJ.
I,
Well,
I
let me
would
ask you,
too.
homie Ricky, why do you say China? Why do you propose that it take place in China?
Well, sure they can take the fight to Saudi Arabia. Sure they can fight in London. There probably won't be a belt on the line. I doubt they're going to strip Fury or one of Usyk's belts to put that belt on the line. I just feel like since I haven't really traveled a whole lot of places and like all over the world, like why not give China exposure? I think I don't know if you guys were here, but I was prefacing the talk earlier, and I remember Manny Pacquiao fighting Brandon Rios in China. There was Zhu Ximing, like a gold medalist from and they were trying to build him up, and Bob Arum and Top Rank were trying to get into that market. But I think Zhu Ximing didn't really like live up to it. I don't think he really. I think they say that he did numbers out there. I don't know. I just feel like you have these larger than life humans, right? AJ and Zhang, and I'm like, why don't you try to open up other markets like how they're trying to do it with Saudi Arabia? It just kind of makes sense. Like, even though there's no belt on the line, it's like you can still carry yourself as champion, right? You see, Joshua don't have all the belts, but his resume is fucking solid, And I'm just like, you don't need the belt, Joshua. You're bigger than the belt, and show it as you travel and fight all over the world, That's that. I guess that's my approach. But I asked you guys if Joshua would fight Zhang, and you guys gave me a little bit of a history, a little bit of a background from the Olympics, but I don't think that fight will happen because he didn't want to fight King Kong Ortiz, and that was a 40-year-old as well.
Yeah,
and he was a southpaw. So I don't really keep my hopes up. But again, Joshua will take on, certain fights, just not the fights that we ask him for, But like he still fought Usyk. Obviously, Usyk has a lot of skill. Whatever situation they have with Wilder or Fury, it is what it is. But he still has. He's got quite a few bodies on that resume.
I think, I think Zhang, bro, is gonna show out. Like eventually, his pedigree is gonna show out, and I don't know. I just see that right, bro, and it's like it's deadly, bro. Like honestly, like I think he beats a lot of these dudes, and what it is that in the amateurs, I mean, he lost to AJ in a 3-round fight.
Yeah,
you never really know what's gonna happen. In the 9 more rounds. So I feel like he just punishes you, man, and he's such a big dude. Like I really just see Tyson. Probably Tyson is capable of beating him, but that's because of his size, and how he uses it, and his weight. But that's the thing. Zhang is 276, bro. Like fight night, and I mean,
wow.
I'm not sure what Fury's weight is, but I mean he is 6'9", and I mean
probably up there too, 276,
Yeah.
315 type of shit, bro.
Yeah. So I'm like, damn, like I think that would be a great fight. I just want to see those two guys go at it. Hurley said he thinks he ducks him, but
how tall is Zhang? Is he like 6'11", 6'9" as well, or
he's
what?
6'6". He's 6'6". Tyson Fury is 6'9".
Okay, so. Yeah, because Adam did say that he would beat Fury, but if Fury imposes his way, puts him in headlocks and tires him out, which are all illegal tactics. You're not even allowed to be doing that shit. But for some reason, Klitschko and Fury are able to get away with that shit. I don't know, but
yeah. So the homie Ricky, the reason why I asked you, why did you propose that fight take place in China? Well, that's coincidental because so I'm not too sure if you guys know this, right? But I guess with this victory, Zhang became first Mando under the WBO. I think Hergovic has shots to Tyson Fury, I believe, first off. But the WBO is probably under Usyk or something to that effect. But anyways, this is the title under Boxing News 24 for today, the 24th of September 2023, and an article written by Mr. Charles Brunn. It's titled Anthony Joshua versus Zhile Zhang and China interests Eddie Hearn. And he goes off to say that a fight between AJ and Zhile Zhang and China would happen. He's doing it. He's open to doing it if the money is right. Now, I'm not too sure what that means, right? If the money is right. Um, I guess it would be whether or not China offers to host it. Maybe incentivizes some kind of a deal to cross. It would be a cross promotion though, because I'm not too sure if you guys know this, but Zhile Zhang, after having fought Joe Joyce, Frank Warren from Queensbury Promotions, he signed them. He signed Zhile Zhang. Now remember, no, Eddie Hearn is Matchroom. Mr. Frank Warren, he's from Queensboro, and so Eddie Hearn used to promote or co-promote Zhile Zhang, but he allowed him to cross over, or maybe that was his last fight with Matchroom. He crossed over to Queensbury so that he could fight Joe Joyce. And when he knocked out Joe Joyce or stopped him in the ninth or whatever, that's when Mr. Frank Warren signed Zhile Zhang for his foreseeable future, whatever that is, one or two fights. Now we do know that Mr. Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn really don't get along very well, right?
Good old fish eyes, man. Good old.
So I think that's the reason why Eddie Hearn brings up if the money is right. Right, because believe it or not, Zhile Zhang has all of the commotion behind them, all of the eyes and the world on him. So he has the momentum right now. But the big cash cow in heavyweight sports is Anthony Joshua, and secondly, or depending on what day of the week it is, it might even be Tyson Fury. But the reason why the homie Ricky is right in proposing that the fight take place in China is because China does need a champion. There is no quality fighters of Chinese descent that I can think of right now, right? So Rubenstein, but he's wait, is this a Rubenstein Thailand? Isn't he Thai?
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
It's different.
Yeah.
This is the thing though. I think he brings a whole fucking country behind him, bro. Like,
exactly.
Wait, but is that true though?
Huh?
Is that true? Like, is he like
numbers? Yeah.
Really fucking with Zhang like that?
Yeah, you get numbers, bro. Like that's like the fucking most populated country in the whole world, bro. Like,
yeah, look, we were discussing it, Drew. I don't know if I was texting you, but I said proof evident that China is not a communist country is that Zhile Zhang is that well fed.
He said communist power.
Yeah, no, it's I mean he said communist power. Oh no, he didn't say communist power. He said, oh me? No, yeah, but that was a joke. I think but Zhile Zhang, I think he said Chinese power or something. Like,
yeah, he's on Chinese power.
Is Zhile Zhang more popular than Kobe Bryant is in China? Because Kobe Bryant was fucking loved and adored over there, bro.
No.
Nah, dude, but he's pretty much like equivalent to the best fucking sumo wrestler of all time, you know, in China.
Yeah.
Because sumo wrestling's big in China.
Is it, or is it in Japan?
It's because let me put it to you guys like this.
Might be Japan.
Adam Hardy says Zhang is actually very popular in China. Look, nice, that's cool. I don't know.
Let's see how many followers he has in IG.
Yeah, so he's got under 40,000. So I'm not saying Instagram is, the metric, the standard to use whether a person, is.
I don't think Chinese people use Instagram.
Yeah, I don't think so.
That's what I was going to say. So it's not like a good, like a sample size or representative that he has his following. But I would say is this: when Canelo lost to Bivol might have had like 97 to like 105,000
followers.
As of right now, I don't know how he has. He's probably over 1 million. And all those just came basically off the piggyback of Canelo. So that lets you know Canelo, again, to your point, Speed, maybe China doesn't use IG. Maybe they have their own
Yeah, they
social
have
media,
something
right?
else. It's called like BBIG or something like that.
Okay, so yeah, so maybe that would be a better standard or metric to Zhang.
Yeah,
Maybe he's got like fucking 14 million followers on that thing, and he's popular as hell. But
yeah,
yeah,
they need.
look, the
Yeah.
heavyweight division, it's nice right now,
Mhm.
and I know everybody's like, oh man, Fury's holding up the heavyweight division. He should be fighting Usyk. I'm not gonna lie, man. I don't really want him to fight Francis Ngannou right now because I feel like there's a whole lot of competent heavyweight champions, and to
Too
a
late.
certain
It's
degree,
happening.
he is holding the heavyweight division up. But again, that's a calculated move with Francis Ngannou, and it does bring more eyes to the sport of boxing. I'm not gonna lie; these crossover fights between UFC and they go to boxing, and these boxers fuck up the MMA fighters. It's only doing good numbers for boxing. Like they're just like, damn, bro, these guys are dominant.
Yeah, it helps boxing, not
You see what
MMA.
I'm saying? Like we know if a boxer went over to the UFC, all the UFC guys are gonna do is just take him to the ground. Like if Conor fought Floyd and Floyd crossed over, Conor, even though he's stand up, he wouldn't try to box with Floyd. He would try to take him down. Even though Connor's not even that great of a grappler. Same thing if Jake Paul had crossed over and fought Tyron Woodley. Tyron Woodley would just take him to the ground. He will not stand up with him. So that's the only way. Like, look at Clarissa Shields when she lost to that Mexican mixed martial artist, right? All that chick did was just take her to the ground. But the minute Clarissa was on her feet, boom, 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 she was landing her shit. So this crossover appeal, I actually like it, except kind of like how Canelo said with like taking exhibition fights. I'll probably do that at the end of my career. And that's how I feel Fury has to take it. It's like, take it at the end of your career when you're finished. Go fight Francis Ngannou. But I'm going to say this. The reason why he had to take the fight, and all you guys already know, is because had he fought Usyk, there's a great possibility that Usyk beats him. And if Usyk beats him,
Beats
Fury is
Fury.
never going to get that Francis Ngannou fight. But because he has the belt and he has the momentum of beating Wilder, this fight presented itself. So it would be stupid for him not to take it. Now, again, that's just that aspect. But the heavyweight division with Zhang, it looks very bright. And I hope he's got another good 5 years in him. Because I don't know if he would fight Jalalov. I think he's from Uzbekistan or one of those like Eastern
Yeah, I think you're
European
right.
areas. I'm not too sure if he's like Kazakhstan with Triple G or more like that aspect where Lomachenko and them are at. I don't know. I guess I would have to, YouTube. I would have to Google search that aspect. But Jalalov is really good. I think he's like 17-0 with like probably like 14 or 12 KOs. So again, excuse me, I don't know
Uzbekistan,
where
you're
this
right.
talk is coming from, but Zhang would be. Look, man, like I said, hopefully he has 5 more good years in him. And same thing with Wilder and all these heavyweights, man, because yeah, man, I don't really like to see these guys retire. It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
This is the
Yeah.
thing. Go ahead. Go ahead, Speed.
Oh no, just going back to the geopolitics of it all. Just pondering whether or not a fight like Anthony Joshua and Zhang Zhang in China might be viable. I think it is, guys, because look, a lot of people think that China is really a communist country, but not only is Drew correct in saying that it's a very dense and highly populated nation. There are a lot of millionaires, a lot of wealthy individuals who are trying to, make those kind of moves and bring guys to themselves by trying to go to these events. And I think Zhang Zhang going to China and taking a great name like AJ in China is not only viable, I think it is profitable. And I think China would actually wager big money to host that fight over there. Why? Because it's part of the BRICS nation, the BRICS union. Those countries like Russia, India, Brazil, I think Portugal, some other South American countries that are trying to form this type of union of economic denomination or union against to compete against the US dollar. And that would be a great example of how wealthy a nation like China is if they were to bring the cash cow of heavyweight boxing, Anthony Joshua, to China to beat their one and only notable fighter at the biggest weight class in all of boxing. So I think I would love to watch that. And in fact, those kind of fights allow us to imagine how good boxing was at its heyday, right? When we had Muhammad Ali fight who was it in Thriller in Manila. Who was it? Homie Ricky. I mean,
Probably
how am I?
Frazier, Joe Frazier.
Yeah. There you go. He fought Frazier in the Thriller of Manila. We had. Can you believe this? I think I was doing the research a few months ago. We had Sugar Ray Leonard, an American, fighting Roberto Manos de Piedra Duran, who is from where? Like, it's
Panama, or
yeah.
nah?
There you go. From Panama, they went to Montreal, Canada, for that fight. Like, I'm asking you guys, what the heck was going on where these guys were having fights outside of the country of their origin?
Yeah,
Like
I
what?
know.
Don
Like
King,
what were they
bro.
doing,
Don King was that visionary. He saw
bro?
the world.
Thriller in Manila. Like who has money in the Philippines like that?
And there was
Like,
a fight. There was a fight. I was watching big what's his name? Fuck, he's another heavyweight, old heavyweight. George Foreman. He had a fight in fucking Jamaica, dude. I was like, what?
Come on.
Huh?
who?
Nah.
George Foreman. Oh, you said
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he had a fight in Jamaica, dude. That shit is insane. I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah, so I think a few months ago, Drew, the homie Ricky and I, we were asking ourselves, why did those fights take place over there instead of, let's say, like, I don't know, New York or Vegas? And apparently
Maybe
Vegas,
political?
huh?
Maybe political. I don't
Gotta
know.
be political, maybe some tax evasions. I don't know, bro. Something's gotta be with Don King, cause
Yeah,
okay, sorry to cut you off, speak.
my
Continue.
bad. Go ahead, Speed.
No, that was it, guys. I was just thinking, like, what if our sport wasn't catered to the British and the Americans, right? Like, for example, okay, Montreal, I think Montreal is in the east coast of Canada. So it's, maybe like an hour or two difference from New York time. So if New York time for their fights to start would be like around, let's say 6 p.m., which would be 3 for us, it's probably more like 7 for them. So 4 for us because we're in the Pacific coast. So for them, it would be like 8 o'clock, and ours would be like 3 o'clock, right? Or something like that. Maybe 4 o'clock, whatever. I don't know my numbers very well. But we would have to watch fights much earlier than them because they weren't catering to our thing. Like, for example, if they fought in Manila, like, I don't even know how many hours away Manila is. It has to be at least 12 hours away from us, right? So it's like, were we watching fights in the middle of the day because they needed to entertain the evening fans of boxing in the Philippines? Like, it was a type of mentality that does not necessarily embrace or cuddle the American fight fan, right? Unless, of course, it was catered to still provide us evening entertainment, and they were fighting in broad daylight over there, like right in the middle of the day. I don't know how it happened. I wasn't there, but what I'm saying is, like, that kind of global mentality to think that the sport is bigger than the two nations of Britain and the United States is incredible because it is a world championship sport,
Yeah.
and it makes sense to just put the fights in markets that you need to open and create more fans of. Maybe that's the reason the sport is not really expanding, and I think the zone would be perfect for that.
No,
Yeah, I think-
absolutely. That's a
yeah.
very good point. Like, look at baseball, right? Major League Baseball and the World Series. They call it the World Series, but it's only, American teams. When you see the World Baseball Classic in Japan just beat Team USA, bro, some of those games were fucking amazing. The
Yeah, it would be
comeback
fun.
between like Mexico versus Cuba, I think it was Team USA versus Puerto Rico. Some of those matches were fantastic. Even like sold out stadiums. It was epic. There was fucking tension up the ass. That series was amazing. And now we have to wait like another 4 or 5 years for it to happen again. But yeah, no, I agree. That global expansion, that's what Dilated Peoples was talking about when they, had that album coming out back in the 90s. Look, man, the zone would be great for that aspect of that, for
Yeah.
that global expansion, that takeover. And that's another thing that's a really great point. Look, in the United States, right? It's like I'm not too sure what the order of operation is in terms of what's the most popular sport. Probably football, then there's basketball, and you go down the list. Boxing maybe is in the top 10. And if it is, maybe it can be number one, let's say in Africa, number two in China. So you have to go open up those markets, man. And it's gonna be big. And once boxing gets to the aspect of being global again, maybe, all these fights happen, the top tier fights, right? That would be nice, bro.
Yeah.
Just
That
to think
reminds me.
about it and just soak on that thought. Yeah, man, that would be fucking epic.
That reminds me
I
of
can't
when
even say nothing. It's just
that reminds me of when everyone had to wake up fucking in the middle of the night to watch Stephen Fulton versus Inoue.
Yeah.
but
There you
that
go.
was amazing though. Like that was fun. Like
Yeah.
I actually stayed up and it wasn't even that bad. It was like 5 a.m. or whatever.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, it was later. It was like pretty much the time you wake up to go to work type of shit.
Yep.
You know,
we kind
at
of
5 a.m.
ran through this topic and covered it for an hour. I'm just going to go to a little different point. I know you guys have pretty big days going to tomorrow, so we won't be on here for too long. But there's this rumor, right? And it was kind of brought up maybe in the beginning of the year or maybe even sometime last year. But I guess it's being, popular. There's like the little rumor mill going around, and that's between Tank and Thurman. You guys good with that?
How do I feel about that? You're asking?
Yes, sir.
I feel so. I'm torn a little bit, because I like when the guys fight for belts. Tank doing all this shit, like, this not the same thing that he did with Ryan. It's a different situation as far as like contract,
It's
clause or
similar with
whatever.
Ryan.
But I think him just having all these exhibitions, really, they're like exhibition fights, and it's like, man, bro, like fight for something meaningful, like you put your pride aside and just fight these dudes. He makes the calls. Ellerby said it. He said he makes the calls. He's the top dog. So why isn't he calling all these big dogs out? Like in his own division. So I don't know. I think he does all that. With all that being said, I think he does have a chance to beat Thurman. I think he can actually put Thurman away, but Thurman. That's what makes it. I'm torn. That's why I'm torn, is because it's going to be an exciting fight. Like this dude's right. That's the reason why they call him one time, because it's like that right. It just takes one time, bro. Like I feel like that right is like stronger than Tank's right, but Tank has so many tools he can hit you with. Like he can get you with any angle, and with Thurman it's really just the straight right, but still deadly, because he's a smaller man. Tank is, so I feel like Thurman's actually like what our height, like 5'8", 5'9", so he's like average human height. So I just feel like it's gonna be an exciting fight, but yet, man, there was other people he could have fought. Why isn't this for a belt? Like I don't know, man. He's fighting 147 dudes. If you're really thinking about fighting 147 dudes, like fight Boots, fight Boots. If you want to fight, you want to pick on the 147 guys, pick on the on the best one there. The best one there, Boots. He don't want that. He don't want that boot smoke though. He want the weak link. He wants Thurman. So I don't know. I feel like Thurman is the weak link. Out of all the four big dogs, like he's really like the elite, obviously, but he's a weak link. He's not number 1 or 2 or 3. He's like probably number 4.
What about you, Speed? What you think? If Tank
So look,
how you feel
yeah,
about that?
yeah. So look, Mr. Adam Hurley, right? He's been talking about Jake Paul and KSI. First off, I love the fact that Mr. Hurley is talking about boxing that's just fun and stupid without the politics, right? Because that's really what the Misfits offer. Boxing with a lot of the carnival side to it. No politics involved, just a lot of howdy do, right? I love that, right? I don't like when I go into watch a Misfits event, and they just had one this past Saturday. I didn't get to watch it, but I will on the replay. It's just boxing for the fun of it. Now, I go there knowing what I'm getting into, right? I'm getting guys that don't know how to fight. They're just there to entertain. I have some of the funniest times with my children watching that. Some of the best laughs, and I've taken Tank Davis, Gervonta Tank Davis, so seriously all of these years, because
Wow.
we know he's a real boxer,
Wow.
but yet he moves a lot like these misfit fighters.
That's
They
crazy. Yeah.
they're celebrities. They are creative with their matchmaking. They're just there for entertainment value. They're trying to create a fan base of a man instead of the sport, right? And because of that, now I've come to realize that Tank Davis is the equivalent of a celebrity boxer.
That's
He
real.
does
Thing though, Tank
he does
deserve
whatever
his,
he wants.
Tank does
Look,
deserve his flowers, but
hold on.
it's this
Speed.
slick
I
shit that
cannot-
he's doing. You know,
I
It's
cannot
like,
believe you went with that take, Speed. I just can't believe it. Wow. First and foremost,
You're wrong.
dude. Wow.
Look,
Okay.
what I'm
Let me
trying to
ask
get
you-
at, right? What I'm trying to
No,
get
I'm
at is
kidding.
this.
Just leave it at that. You said that you put Tank Davis as he's a misfit fighter. He's a laughing stock. He's only
No,
there-
no.
How many
He's
hold on,
he
hold on.
provides entertainment.
How many
It
catch weights
provides it.
did Pacquiao have when he was moving up and beating all those amazing fighters like Cotto, Oscar De La Hoya, Marquez, and company? How many catch weights did he have?
Oh no. So that's not. But those are real fighters, though, Ricky.
Oh, okay. Hold on. So you say they're real fighters,
And
Well, how
they
are
were
real
fighting for
fighters-
belts. It
Hold on.
doesn't
How are
matter.
they real fighters? How are they real fighters if Oscar De La Hoya fights up to 154 pounds, 160 pounds,
for a
right?
belt.
And then somehow he fights
For a belt.
Pacquiao at 147 and lower.
Yeah,
So
but
you mean to tell me you're gonna make a guy cut 20 pounds just to fight you as you move up and you meet in between?
He signed
look,
a
what I'm
contract.
trying to say is this, right?
These points. Hold on. Let me just reinforce these points. So that's what Pacquiao did, right? To my knowledge, I think Floyd, when he came out of retirement for like a year and a half, he fought Marquez, and I think he met Marquez in the middle, like around 144. So I think that might have been Floyd Mayweather catchweight, and then he had the Canelo catchweight. He might have had something in between, but those are the two popular ones for Floyd Mayweather. Tank Davis. See, a lot of people like to shit all over Tank, right? And I'm critical of the fucking dude, like everybody else. Right? He dug Lomachenko. You don't want to fight Shakur. You don't want to fight Devin. But all these fights that he is giving us, bro, you can't put him in the category of a misfit fighter. This dude is fighting real dogs. Listen, everyone talks about his best win. Up to this day, it would probably be Pedraza. Pedraza's done extremely well at 140, giving the fights of Jose
I thought it
Ramirez,
was Leo Santa Cruz.
Barboza, all these fighters, very good, tough, competent fights, right? Tank knocked them out, right? He also beat Leo Santa Cruz. I love Leo, bro. Look at the fights that he gave with Carl Froch and Abner Mares. Just to name a few, fucking epic. And Tank Davis slept him. Mind you, Leo was beating Tank, dog. But, there's this thing where...
I'm not trying to say that Tank is not highly skilled.
And he starts dogging you, man, these fighters get nervous and they want to exchange it. Boom! That laser left, uppercut, hook, no matter. Just lights out James Toney.
I'm not trying to say he's not highly skilled, man. All I'm trying to tell you...
Jake Paul's highly skilled, too. He's got some pretty good little skills.
He's not highly skilled.
Not hella high.
Highly skilled?
Listen, he's got
high.
He's got decent skills.
You're wrong.
Highly skilled because not a lot of amateur fighters right now could knock out that black fighter. What the fuck is his name?
Tyron Woodley, bro. I get that. Listen, this is what you got to understand about my take, right?
In a little bit. Let that soak in. Not a lot of amateur fighters can possess that power to knock out a UFC champion. I can tell you a lot of
It's
cats
possible.
from here in Salinas that have like over 30 amateur fights, and I guarantee you, James.
Look. Before you misconstrue what I'm trying to say, right? This is what Tank Davis has done.
No, hold on.
He's
I don't want to say nothing to that. Hold on. Let me just keep going. So for him,
well, he's gonna keep going for a long time, Drew.
a little bit. So when he's trying to meet Keith Thurman, somewhere in the middle, just 2 pounds shy of 147, that's fucking fair, bro. Tank is fucking tiny.
You're not understanding. I don't care. I don't care about that. This is what I'm trying to get at. When you watch a Tank Davis fight, you're watching it because you're a fan of Tank Davis, right?
Yeah,
These guys, the people that support Tank Davis fans are not a fan of the sport. That's why he never provides you the fights that are valuable for the sport. He provides you fights that are valuable for him. So the people that pay for his fights are paying because they're fans of the man and not of the sport. Very similar to a lot of the Misfits fighters. When right now, Mr. Hurley is talking about Jake Paul fighting KSI. And the person that I would go for would likely be KSI because I like KSI. I like him more than I like Jake Paul, so I'm gonna cheer on for that guy. Now, KSI is creating.
I don't care about Jake and KSI. Stick to Tank and
No. What I'm trying to tell you is this: that it's not no different. It's not no different than what Tank Davis is doing. Tank Davis is being very creative with the fights, taking on fights that will make him and his fans happy. Not anybody else. Not the fans of the sport. Not deserving fights that mean anything in the sport at large. They're for the fans and for the money. And guess what's similar for that? The Misfits fighting. I'm not talking about the skill level. It's the entertainment value that he provides his fans. And that's it. The entertainment value of his fans. But similar to Misfit celebrity boxing, it doesn't mean nothing in the grand scheme of the sport itself. What's wrong with saying that?
I completely
I know you completely disagree.
Yeah,
I know you completely disagree, and I have nothing to say. I'm not even saying that's not a competitive fight.
So is Ryan Garcia, was he not a top 10 lightweight? Did he not sleep Luke Campbell? Or sorry, he didn't sleep him, but hit him with a amazing body shot.
That was 4 years ago, I think.
Okay, but what was he not a top 10 lightweight?
Maybe back then.
Okay, so he was a top 10 lightweight. He was a mandatory for Devin Haney's belt. He didn't want to fight Devin Haney, right?
Why?
Tank still fought Ryan Garcia. That's a credible win. Now, we can say, oh, he's an Instagram boxer. He didn't take the sport seriously. Well, that's his fucking fault. Because guess what? A couple years back, Tank wasn't taking the sport very fucking serious either. He was ballooning up in weight. He was drinking. He was doing a bunch of stupid shit. Now, when he gets on the right path, starts knocking out credible fighters. Hector Luis Garcia. Even though Tank made him move 5 pounds up, that guy's a good fucking fighter. And you'll see when he goes back down at 130, and hopefully he unifies in fights like, let's say, the winner of Edward Vasquez versus Joe Cordina, or if he unifies with Oshaki Foster, you're going to see Hector Luis Ortiz probably beat all those dudes. Look how Pedraza's been doing. That dude's amazing. Had he not had this tough road of just fighting Jose Ramirez, Arnold Barboza, Chon Cepeda, if they actually built his career, right, Pedraza might be a champion at 140, right? So what I'm trying to tell you is Mario Barrios, he's a very good fighter. You're going to see how he's going to give Yordenis Ugas a very good fight. I'm not saying he's going to win. I'm just saying you're going to see Mario Barrios surprise a lot of people, okay? Tank was able to put Mario Barrios down. Keith Thurman couldn't. And you can't tell me Keith Thurman ain't a big ass puncher.
Bro, but did I say that the fight was not competitive?
Hold on. Go see Keith Thurman land these amazing hooks on Sean Porter. Okay, now I understand that was years ago. Okay, I understand that. But what I am trying to tell you is Tank, you can't put Tank and you can't.
Bro, when did I say that the fight was not intriguing enough?
No, what I'm trying to say is you're putting Tank as a misfit fighter, and that's ridiculous.
It's a celebrity fight. It's a celebrity fight. It's a celebrity fight. It has no meaning in the sport itself. and it's only there to please whatever moves he wants to make and his fans only. That's celebrity fighting, bro. They're celebrities. They have fan bases that follow them because they're the celebrity, but they don't move in the sport of boxing. They're in and of themselves their own separate class.
Let me
Like
tell you
misfit
something.
celebrity boxing is not real boxing and moves separately from boxing and the sanctioned form of it.
Let me
Now,
tell you something.
sometimes you have people like Jake Paul that do venture out and do other stuff, like take on Tyson Fury's little brother, Tommy Fury, and guess what? They lose. They're good at it, but that's because Jake Paul is really the exception. Jake Paul is he's going to be a very good fighter. He's going to be a good fighter. Now going back to another thing, you wanted me to run through top 10 lightweights. Look, there's Devin Haney, Lomachenko, uh, Cruz, Cepeda, Stevenson, Martin, Cambosos, Maxi Hughes, Murataya, William Cepeda, the other Davis, the guy that's under he's Shakur Stevens' buddy, the one who's always been
Oh
calling
yeah,
out
Keyshawn.
Martin. Yeah, Keyshawn Davis,
Keyshawn.
Abdulayev. Who else? All
Yeah,
of
no,
those
Ryan
guys,
Garcia,
all
Ryan
of those
Garcia
guys
hasn't
are
played
way better than Ryan Garcia, bro. Ryan Garcia ain't got nothing besides a hook. A quick left hook and no chin, obviously.
And
No
you know who's calling
chin.
him out is
What do you
Andy
mean no
Vence's.
chin?
Baranchik, and he definitely, bro. You're not. Look, what I'm saying is this. And look, Tank Davis
Ryan
is
Garcia
separate
has
from
the
the
chin.
sport of boxing.
The
Like
problem
the
with Ryan
misfits are,
Garcia
like
is
KSI, like he's the
not
he's
defensively.
close
Go ahead,
to,
Ray.
he's closer. Look, bro. Look, the people that know Tank Davis, they know he's the goods, right? When Ellerby tells you that he does what he wants, is because he does what he wants. He's not saying anything about the sport. I'm not even saying that the fight between him and Keith Thurman ain't gonna be competitive. I'm not even saying it's not intriguing or creative enough. But they know how they work. They do what they want to get the suckers to pay for things that they want, right? But it has no meaning in the sport.
I'm gonna
Look,
tell you this. I
Keith
would
Thurman is a
favor
good
Keith
name, bro.
Thurman. I would favor Keith Thurman to knock out Tank Davis, bro. I would
Oh,
favor him. Now I'm gonna say this: if we know Keith
With the
Thurman is weak
catch
to the
weights,
body, no, look, we know Keith Thurman is weak to the body, right?
there you go.
But so could Tank. But guess what? Nobody really hits Tank to the body. So what I'm trying to tell you is this: Keith Thurman has the power to hurt Tank, and vice versa. But again, Thurman's been dropped before. We know this, right? Only pretty much maybe only once against Manny Pacquiao. Now I think he said in an interview when Oscar the Lawyer went to go recruit him, and Oscar the Lawyer was in attendance. I think for his fifth or his 10th amateur professional fight, he got dropped in that fight too, right? Like in the first round. So what I'm saying is this: even though Thurman gets dropped by Tank, he will get up. Okay, because whether you think Ryan has a weak chin, I don't think he has a chin problem. He has a defensive problem. Okay, anybody that extends their long arms outward like an amateur and the chin up in the air, a lot of fighters are going to get dropped by that punch, right? That Luke Campbell dropped Ryan. A lot of people are going to get dropped by that countering slip, no look, 4 over the top, and that hits you right on the chin. That Tank landed in the second round. A lot of people are going to get dropped by that. Ryan's problem is that, again, he doesn't put his hands back to his face. And again, you can't throw 3 or 4 of the same left hook and Tank dunking all 4 of them. You can't do that, bro. So that's the same thing with Leo Santa Cruz. When he got countered, slipped, and uppercutted in the 5th or 6th round, he threw 3 right straights. Bro, you can't do that against Tank. So if Keith Thurman, as long as Keith Thurman doesn't throw the same repetitive things and he actually uses boxing knowledge like feints and circles around, he can beat Tank Davis. All right, he's going to be the much bigger man. And then once he rehydrates, he'll probably be north of 165. And guess what? He should be able to beat Tank Davis.
He's not going to let him do that. He's not going to let
Well,
him rehydrate.
Who knows? Again, this is all a rumor mill. So
Yeah.
again, when you want to say and be like, "Oh man, this guy's a misfit fighter," it makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah,
That's a
because it's
very
still to be
dangerous
told.
fight.
It's
Now,
still to
for a
be
lot
told.
of yeah, Drew, you said something about that. He's fighting not the A-tier fighters like Boots. Like, bro, okay. A lot of these amazing fighters that we look up to or that we think Tank Davis would fight, they also be ducking the hard fucking fights as well. All right. They would do if they were in the same position as Tank, they would do and move as Tank does and moves. Okay. We just saw Shakur reluctant to take 25% of Devin Haney. Now, that was just, a term sheet. It wasn't a contract sent, but by the WBC bylaws, by the rules, it says if you are the mandatory, you are only due 25%. In fact, I think the rest of the other sanctioning bodies do the same thing too. If you go to purse bid, all right, Teofimo had all 4 belts against George Kambosos. George was, I'll take that 25%. Because if you're really about that shit, you take the fucking money regardless and you run with it and you beat him. But Shakur didn't take it. So I'm letting you know if Shakur had all the belts, and I'm going to give you an example, like he did against Robeson Conceição, the motherfucker didn't even make weight. And he didn't put a fucking rehydration clause or anything. He just said, I'm not going to make one under 130. I'm going to come in at 132. At least Tank gives you a heads up. Hey, I'm going to meet you here and you can rehydrate. And that's all on the contract. I don't know. I know probably Tank has missed weight. I'm not too sure.
It was different against Ryan Garcia, though. It was like he weighed in twice.
That's Ryan Garcia's fault, though, bro. You see, he should have either done this. I'll fight you at 140, but I won't give higher than like 147. But at least he doesn't have to make 136. But again, Ryan's biggest fault is his own self, bro. He's had the A-list team. He has the the legacy of Canelo. He can continue to build off of that, but he didn't respect it, bro. You see, Ryan is comparable to a misfit fighter. Right?
Okay, so what if if Tank beats
and
Thurman,
you paid for it.
Tank beats
we all
Thurman.
paid for it, and it was a fantastic fight. The undercard was amazing.
It was a fantastic fight.
Would you want to see Tank versus Pacquiao?
I would love to see Tank versus Pacquiao.
Yeah, so the thing with Ricky, right, is that he falls for every single thing that looks new. That's it. That's that's the thing. If it's shiny, if it's loud, he'll go there like I don't know, like a moth to a flame. He'll be like, I'm just going right to it because it's sensational, it's incredible, it's big, it's bumptious, it promises the most an experience like none before. Bro, come on, we're hardcores. We know this is a play for money. These fighters don't deserve $80 of ours because it's an intriguing offering. When we skip out on fights for championship, I'm tired of giving up my money, though. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'm tired of giving up my money for frivolous shit. I mean, look, if you just passed yourself off like a celebrity and just made it fun and give me all the shenanigans like the misfits do, I'd appreciate it. But these guys are gonna actually take themselves serious.
That's wild.
Anyways, all right, man. Well, anyways, I know you're gonna pay for it. I get it. Going back to something very important that's boxing related. Zhang, right? It's on the hype. Okay, let me throw out some names there. Zhang versus Wilder. Drew, go. Who wins?
Zhang.
Okay, homie, who wins?
Who? Zhang versus Wilder?
Yeah. I know, right?
I have to still go Wilder because even though he looked pretty mediocre against King Kong Ortiz, he was still able to land that right hand, and when he did, it was lights out. I think he would put Zhang down as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So is Luis Ortiz as tall as Wilder? Or is he a little shorter?
I think he was like 6'4", 6'6" as well.
Okay.
Wilder's like what, 6'8" as well, 6'7".
Yeah, and Luis Ortiz is a more mobile fighter, more defensive.
Yeah,
and
he's got more bounce to his step too. Than
exactly. Zhang is not very defensive. He carries his hands down. I know he's very fluid. but he leaves his defense quite open. I know he was fighting a fighter that he had no fear against, and Joe Joyce, and obviously Joe Joyce was making the same kind of mistakes and not really taking any risks. But I would think that Zhang would put up a very good fight against Wilder until, oh man, I don't even know, to tell you the truth. That's why I wanted to ask you guys, because Zhang is on fire. Zhang could be very much a lot like Tyson Fury, except the southpaw. Now,
To me, yeah, to
yeah,
me
go for it.
it's his my bad for cutting you off.
Nah.
To me it's his punch placement. It's how he lands that right punch, bro. Like he knows how to he knows where to land it. And dude, honestly, like the I know Joe Joyce isn't up there, like he's not the best heavyweight, but to do that to any heavyweight, the way he put him down like that, dude, that just says that he can, like, that's a chin right there. A chin is a chin. I think he's capable of doing that, to somebody like Wilder, especially since we seen already so much vulnerabilities. Fuck, that's a hard word. He's actually shown a lot of that, and yeah, I feel like, dude, Zhang's just on a hot streak, bro. Like he knows punch placement. His defense isn't all there, but he
Mhm.
he punishes you. He punishes you, and it adds up. And Joe Joyce thought he he thought he had unlimited punch resistance, because I mean he had no like head movement, and I'm like, man, like, didn't you at least try to like game
No,
plan with
he
that?
moved his head, Drew,
Did
like
he?
an inch.
Yeah, okay, I was about to say, yeah, no, he didn't even try to like move his head that much, like he didn't learn the first time. He just thought the weight was gonna help out,
It's
you
it,
know?
it's because it's so difficult. It must be so difficult to really move your head and your waist when you decide to blow up 25, almost 30 pounds from where
Yeah.
you last fought. Like, how is
Mhm.
the girth of your belly gonna promote the kind of maneuvering uh to really bob and weave and just like move your head around like that? It's ridiculous. I don't know what the strategy going forward was, but it wasn't gonna behoove him to be a heavier set fighter, because you were going to be slower as a result, including being more flat-footed when you can't be like that against a southpaw. Okay, another name: Zhang versus Joshua. Drew, go.
Man, after seeing that win from Joshua, fuck, man, that's a tough fight. That's a tough
Hmm.
fight. I think AJ can edge him out. I think AJ can actually beat him if
Hmm.
he actually keeps the same, like he's capable of maintaining the same energy for 12 rounds straight. So because he can, if he can beat him in a 3-round fight, um, then I feel like he can actually win unanimously. But it's just he punishes you, man. He doesn't care about getting hit, and he wants to punish you, and he wants to make it add up to a KO, or at least a
Hmm.
swelling of the eye, because it adds up, and it
Hmm.
it might not hurt, but it's damaging your face, So and it's the way he does like these like movements where like he'll jab and then boom, he'll go like full force, So yeah, it looks like slow motion when he punches, but dude, his opponent's reaction is just, it's crazy, man. It's just Joe Joyce's reaction, bro. I was like, man, he really just turned them off. Like he just, it takes a lot of power to do what he did to Joyce.
I will say this: that was uh, a very, I wouldn't call it elegant, but it was a very smooth and cute way to fall asleep. He fell forward and he put his hands like this, and he made himself almost like a pillow with his forearms, like looking to the side, like a brand new, like a newborn. How he
Yeah.
sleeps. That was pretty elegant. Homie Ricky, who wins? Joshua, Zhang. I think Ricky is probably the, you know. Um, I think I think that's a very intriguing fight, Drew, because Anthony Joshua has arguably faced a way faster, more fleet of foot fighter, and Alexander Usyk. He had an experience twice, and actually fought a fighter before him as a southpaw to prep for it, right? So it's like he's he's definitely much more experienced in fighting southpaws than the next heavyweight, right? So I think that would behoove him because we know. I would say it's like this: Alexander Usyk is the most skilled heavyweight there is, followed by followed by Tyson Fury, and then Anthony Joshua, and then, well, from there you can just start adding, I don't know, whoever you want, maybe Zhang, right? But but I think Anthony Joshua has that experience that would allow him the comfort to move well against Zhang. Now, the thing about Anthony Joshua is that he's been very gun shy. He's been very tentative. He's just been so much more defensive. And it's almost like he wants to win his fights by points. And I mean, that could work for you because Zile Zhang seems to slow down towards the latter half of the fights. But I don't know if he's going to slow down because Anthony Joshua is going to bring the pressure to him, you see. So it may just be one of those things that if Anthony Joshua does not develop the confidence to start throwing his southpaw killers and things like that, he may just set himself up for being knocked out by by Zile Zhang also, because Zile Zhang knows how to move very well. Anyways, I think the homie Ricky is crashed. He's definitely out of the picture right now, Drew. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna take the opportunity right now to crash out myself. I
Yeah.
have a
Uh,
test tomorrow.
yeah. All right, then, man. I'll see you then.
Yeah, all right. Good night,
All
guys.
right, man. All right, good night, man.
Yo, did everybody leave? What the hell?